Welcome to the World of Books, one of 7 worlds in 7 World Productions, a subsidiary of Angelgram Music. My name is Gino, and I am the sole owner of Angelgram Music, as well as executive director of 7 World Productions. Continuing our series in Search of Beauty, here is Chapter 16, Lee. Hope you enjoy. Previously on In Search of Beauty, I worked in the Miss Universe pageant system in Memphis, Biloxi, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, South Padre Island, and Miami for Miss USA, Panama City, Panama, Cancun, Mexico, Mexico City, Mexico, Singapore, Taipei, Taiwan, and Bangkok, Thailand for Miss Universe. My relationship with Tad was platonic and endured the test of time. I had the greatest respect and brotherly love for her, and was greatly saddened to hear that she had succumbed to lung cancer in the year 2000. The world lost a great artist, dancer, and choreographer that day, a woman filled with grace, charm, and dignity that proved to be beauty on its own level, way above all else. I had lost a true friend and another mentor. Chapter 16, Lee. I quickly learned that working for John Gary entailed being liked by his wife, Lee Wilson Gary. If she did not like you, you would not be with John very long. She was able to manage his later career, and in so doing had a great say-so in who came along for the ride. I was very fortunate that Lee liked me. It also didn't hurt that John liked my piano playing, and especially my arranging talents. We traveled all over the country during the late 1980s. I had the honor of conducting the San Antonio and the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestras. We performed for several Irish festivals in Wisconsin and Dallas. Regular stints with the Fairmont hotels around the country till 1987 were very gratifying. Every winter we would perform at the Aztec Lounge of the Biltmore Hotel and Resort in Phoenix, Arizona. In the summers we would perform at Pheasant Run, a resort in St. Charles, Illinois. Pheasant Run officially opened on February 15, 1963, under the ownership of Edward J. McArdle. A developer with a vision, McArdle saw the area as a perfect location for a unique entertainment resort, offering a place for leisure and business guests to have fun and unwind while only a short distance from anywhere in the Chicago area. The name Pheasant Run was created due to the abundance of this variety of field fowl that were located on the property. Historically, the first theater at Pheasant Run was called the Pheasant Run Playhouse and opened in 1964. The first star to appear there was Mimi Hines, a dancer on the Jack Paar Show. Many people can remember visiting the Playhouse in the 60s and 70s to see stars such as William Shatner, Phyllis Diller, Betty Grable, Bob Denver, Stephanie Powers, and Larry Hagman. The foot and handprints and signatures of many of these stars can be found in cement blocks throughout the property. John had a faithful fan club, and every August they would have a reunion at Pheasant Run. There were times when one of John's gigs would coincide with a pageant. On those rare occasions I had a good friend of mine from dinner theaters days past, Bill Keck, come in and take my place for John. Still other times I had Andy Williams' brother, Dick, take my place at the pageants to make it fair for John. In this manner I was able to keep both jobs over a time span of more than a decade. Among all of the engagements through the years, the most memorable ones were the Community Concert Association tours around the country. John, Lee, and I put together a self-contained show called Lights, Camera, Action that introduced new singing talents plus featured John and his music. The show was based around Broadway and movie music down through the ages. John bought lighting and sound equipment. He hired 2 males and 2 females as entertainers who could sing and dance. I wrote all the arrangements and had a keyboard sequencer play full orchestrations. In the 1980s, this was state-of-the-art performance gear, and we were able to have full orchestrations for a 2-hour show. I had purchased an Ensoniq keyboard workstation after successfully selling the Steinway that Janet and I had. I put an ad in the Dallas Morning News, and within 1 week got a response from a buyer who wanted to buy a piano for his wife. During that first phone call with the buyer, I told him about the piano, and he said that his wife was a private piano teacher, and they were moving from Dallas to Graham, about 100 miles west of DFW. When the buyer arrived at my apartment with his wife, he introduced himself, and his wife tried out the piano and loved it. He wrote a check for my asking price of $2,000, and that's how I sold my piano to Bob Lilly, former Dallas Cowboy player, and purchased the state-of-the-art electronic keyboard and toured all of the states for the next 2 years with John and Lee. One performance was especially telling of the level of professionalism that John insisted on. In the middle of winter, we were scheduled to perform in Anaconda, Montana, a small former copper mining town. The theater was downtown at the corner of the only stoplight in town. It was an old vaudeville theater. When we arrived with our 3 motorhomes and equipment trailer, we pulled into the back alley to start our load-in and set up through the stage door at the back of the theater. When we entered into the theater, the first place we came to was the green room. The most recent poster on the wall was a promo for Georgie Jessel. There was no heat in the place. As we found our way to the wings of the stage, we noticed a huge curtain of tarp draping the center of the stage as a backdrop. The tarp was supported by old oil drums spanning the stage from wing to wing. The space between the tarp and the footlights was about 10 feet. Not much space for our equipment, let alone room for our singers to dance. The theater had broken down seats with weathered upholstery and the smell of old mustiness and animal urine. We all looked at John to see if he would call our agent and try to cancel this performance. Instead, John simply said, "I'll be in my motorhome while you set up. Call me when you are ready for a sound check." With that, he left us as we began our load-in and setup. Lee helped and asked us to take heart and not be discouraged. John always kept his promise to the public to perform his very best, and she was counting on all of us to do the same. After several hours, we had our equipment set up, the keyboards, drums, sound equipment, and lights. I called John, and he came to the stage ready for the sound check. As he sang, you could see his breath, and I had to wear gloves to play the keyboard and run the lighting and sound. After a few minor adjustments, John said, "Good to go. Let's get ready for our A show." That night, as we came on stage to start the show, we could not help but notice how well-dressed the audience was. The men had on tuxedos, and the women had long gowns and the finest of jewelry. It was apparent that Anaconda's best had come out, and the entire town was here to be entertained by John and company. Needless to say, we performed our best. When John finished his encore Danny Boy, the crowd jumped to their feet en masse and gave us a standing ovation that lasted what seemed to be a lifetime. We were invited to the afterglow for free food and drink at the local Denny's, where they had shut the restaurant down to the public to accommodate us and any members of the audience. After we packed up all our equipment, we drove our motorhomes to the Denny's at the edge of town by the interstate, and were surprised to see so many of the audience there to take pictures and get autographs. As we made small talk and partook of the food, one tall, lanky-looking cowboy in his boots and hat came up to John and said, "I was just passing through town looking at some property to buy and tried to get a bite to eat before leaving town. The folks here at the Denny's said that they were closed in preparation for a big-name star to come and eat." I asked them who was the star, and they said John Gary, and that he was performing tonight at the old theater downtown. Well, I decided to postpone leaving and came to your concert. As I sat in the back and listened to your rendition of Danny Boy, I had tears come to my eyes as I thought about my boys. I had to come here and thank you for reminding me why I work hard. I would like to invite you to my ranch in Arkansas. John said, well, we would love to. In fact, we'll be passing through Little Rock later on in the tour, and you are more than welcome to hear us perform again. Lee had said you never knew who was in the audience, and that is why you always perform your very best, your A show. Someone might be moved to tears, or a smile to their face. Someone's memory might be jarred about a beautiful event, or filled with sorrow about a departed one. A musical performance of any kind is a very special gift, said Lee. That night our A show moved Sam Walton. I worked with John till the fall of 1996, when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He put up a valiant effort in trying to overcome the ravages of this male disease, only to succumb to it in January of 1998. The vocal majority sang Danny Boy at John's funeral, and I joined the VM in 2006. The world lost a great talent that year, and I lost another brother and miss him to this day. Recently I co-produced with Lee an audio version of John's book entitled A Fragment of Time, and it is available at www.johngary.com. If you liked this episode, click like and add your comments. Better still, why don't you subscribe if you haven't already so that you may receive email notifications of future episodes. Also, check out our other worlds at Seven World Productions: the world of art, the world of faith, the world of family, the world of food, the world of games, and the world of music. Go and be inspired.